Good morning. My name is Roger Davis, and I am the Lieutenant District Governor for the Appomattox District. And the topic for today's speech is looking forward. On July the 15th, 1848, an Italian man was born in Paris, France. His name was Wilfredo Pareto. Mr. Pareto died in Switzerland in 1923, but the legacy lives on with us to this day. Among other things, he was an economist and an engineer, but he's best known for formulating the Pareto principle. You probably already know what the Pareto principle is, but you may not know who named it. It's called the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule, simply put, says that 80% of work is done by 20% of the people. 80% of sales are done by 20% of the salespeople. 80% of church offerings are made by 20% of the members, and so forth. This 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle, is with us in our businesses, in our lives, and in our organizations. It is alive and well, abundantly so, in Ruritan, as hard as that might be for you to believe. Why do I even mention the Pareto principle? Because President-elect Glenn asked me to make a talk about motivation. And to me, the Pareto principle is the very heart of motivation. You are here today as a leader of Ruritan because you are motivated. You are in that 20%. You became a leader by choice. You have an inner drive and an inner motivation to make things happen. Very likely no one forced you to become a leader. My belief is that we are here today because we are motivated and we want to make things happen. We have a lot of people in Ruritan, wonderful people from many walks of life. We have a lot of experience and personalities and talent. But my guess is that about 80% of our membership is perfectly content to come to meetings, eat, socialize a little bit, help out when asked to do so, and go home feeling good about themselves. And that is a great thing. But sometimes in the 20%, we get just a little tired of carrying a disproportionate amount of the workload. And that's okay. We take it on when we become leaders. But the question arises, what would happen if we could raise our 20% to 21, 22, 23%? What if? How much more could we accomplish in Ruritan? How much more could we help our communities if we could raise that percentage just a little bit? What if? Charlie Tremendous Jones was a big man, a dynamic speaker, prolific author, and given to a lot of sayings. Some of my favorite are, you can lead a boy to college, but you can't make him think. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You just try to put a little salt in his oats. My goal here today is to encourage you, your district, your zones, your clubs, and Ruritan National to think. Think how we can do even better to salt the oats of the 80% and do more in our mission of community service, fellowship, and goodwill. Let's think about how we are going to develop our own leadership skills. How are we going to attract new members? How are we going to attract and develop future leaders? How are we going to help Ruritan not only thrive, but to survive in these trying times. I love this saying, when you're green, you're growing, and when you're ripe, you're right. I feel that we need to start a green movement in Ruritan to keep growing. Here are a couple of books about the history of Ruritan. After reading both of these books, it is so apparent that these early Ruritan members were spreading the word, adding new members, starting new clubs. Excitement was at a fever pitch. They had a lot of evangelical zeal. They were green. They were growing. They were on a mission, and they were out to win. My feeling is that we should try to recapture some of that zeal and that enthusiasm that these early members had. And I love the old saying that nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. The word enthusiasm comes to us from the Greek. It is en theos, or God within. And the last four letters of the word enthusiasm, IASM, could stand for I am soul myself. You might say that demographics have changed since the early days, that America is not as rural as it once was. I feel that Ruritan is needed now more than ever. We do a lot of talking about community service, fellowship, and goodwill, and doing good in the neighborhood. Yet, it seems we spend a lot of our time in meetings talking about declining membership, bemoaning our fate, as if we can't do anything about it. We need to stop talking it to death and do something about it. And this is where enthusiasm comes in. We need to go out and spread the word, let people know who we are, aggressively seek new green growth, and let's make, instead of the good old days, let's make these the good new days. Some clubs are growing, some are declining. Let's try to increase the odds that all clubs grow and make Ruritan grow. It's been said that the only constant is change. And make no mistakes, change is here to stay. It's not going to go away. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. So the question for us is, are we going to watch it happen, let it happen, or wonder what happened? We need new green growth. The bottom line is we have to ask enough members and get them to join. It's a numbers game. So the question is, how many times does a baby fall down before it learns to walk? Good question, right? As many as it takes. The baby doesn't quit. Ruritans can't quit. Babies are growing. Ruritan can grow too. ADA is a time-tested acronym used in sales and in business and is directly applicable to Ruritan. I don't need to go over all of this. Each one of them, you can read it for yourselves, but I encourage you to embrace it, take it to heart, and use it. So in summary, we have talked about the 80-20 rule. We have talked about thinking. We have talked about developing leaders. We have talked about green growth. And in all good marketing campaigns, we must have a call to action. So here is my call to action to you. I double dog dare you in your respective role in Ruritan to go forth, to start some new green growth and encourage and help those around you to do the same. So don't tell me about labor pains, just show me the baby. In summary, I hope that you buy into these concepts that we've discussed here today. I hope that you will go out and encourage your fellow Ruritan members. And keep in mind that teamwork makes the dream work, and that you and those around you can effect a positive change which will benefit us all and to help Ruritan become, ever more than ever, one team, one direction, up. And lastly, don't forget to think.